Hello. Okay, so today's video, I'm going to talk a little bit about how I developed my psychic abilities. Make sure you guys like and subscribe below, and make sure you hit the notification button so that you guys know when I post a new video. So, as many of you guys know, and maybe some of you don't, I actually have had my abilities since I've been 6 years old. Yeah, 6. It was one of those things that just randomly had. I don't know. I can tell more about that later in another video. Let me know in the comments below if you want to hear about that. But I still had to develop them. I had to learn how to understand them. I had to learn how to lean into them. I had to learn how to trust them. Yes, this was very much a part of me, but it wasn't something that I had complete control over. So I had to learn how to navigate them. And even as I got older, my gifts were shifting and they were changing. So at one point, I was getting so many premonitions. I was getting loved ones after loved ones visiting me in dreams or visiting me while I was doing my day-to-day work. And I was not knowing what to do with this. I had no idea why they were visiting me. I had no idea what messages they wanted me to tell. I just kept picking them up. I would visually see them. Now, many of you, I'm sure, have had this happen, and then you go into a panic attack and you're like, oh my gosh, you're here in my dreams and you're not really supposed to be. So let me tell you what I started doing. I remember being at work one time and this guy started talking to me about lucid dreaming. So he was telling me how he was learning how to take control of his dreams, how he was learning how to kind of explore his dreams. So I listened. And I went home and I started applying a lot of those lessons into my dreaming. So what I would do was, if there was a box in front of me, I would focus on that box and learn how to push it. And soon I would carry it. And soon I was navigating my dreams, where instead I would choose which direction I wanted to go in my dreams. And afterwards, I used this same type of lessons that I learned into the premonitions. So the next time when a loved one was visiting me, one, I didn't panic. I just stood there and I said, hello, do you have a message for me? I asked them for a chalkboard. I said, do you have a chalkboard to write on? Because oftentimes it's kind of interesting when we get loved ones visiting us, they're not speaking. They don't speak. So I gave them a chalkboard to write on. And I learned how to kind of use those tools from the lucid dreaming into applying it into my premonitions, because that was a visit from a loved one. This was not a dream. And if you've ever had a visit from a loved one, you know it feels very different. It is very real, and you remember every single detail. Another way that I actually let my clairvoyancy open. So by this time I had been getting visions and dreams and my clairvoyancy was open, but again, I still wanted a little bit more clarity on it. So what I did was I would create space and time. I'd be in one room and my family would be in the other, and I would sit there and imagine what they were doing in the other room. I would imagine where they were sitting, how they were communicating, even go as far as imagining what they were saying. And I allowed myself to kind of visualize myself physically traveling up and into that space to see and explore and to look around. And I allowed myself not to just do this in the sense of that room, but I took it a step further at times. I would imagine myself at the beach. I would imagine myself in the mountains. And I would learn how to kind of see in different parts. I'm doing my best to explain it. When I coach you guys one-on-one as a spiritual intuition coach, please know that I'm using your guides to help translate the best way to coach you. So what worked for me may not work for you. There was a lot of other things that I would do, like the typical looking at a flower, closing the, stepping away from the flower, closing my eyes and imagining every detail. There was a lot of things like that. Setting up the room in my space, in my mind. So what you're doing is you're allowing your field to expand a little bit bigger. The other part of this that I did besides that was spend a lot of time in guided meditations. Guided meditations really helped me to expand my clairvoyancy, because it helped me to push my boundaries into other dimensions, into other realms that I hadn't really understood for a long time. I also did a lot of automatic writing. Automatic writing was a way for me, and it still is to this day, to connect with my guides and ask them what messages they have for me. What lessons do I need to learn? And I would even go as far as asking them, how can I open up my site more? How can I open up my abilities more? And when they gave me these tools, rather than just saying, okay, thank you, I actually applied them and I did the work. I did the work. So when you guys are like, how do I open up my abilities? One, figure out what your number one ability is. We all have abilities, each and every one of us, but it's important that you understand what your main ability is. Because when you come to understand what your main ability is, whether it's clairvoyant, claircognizance, clairsentience, or clairaudience, you can begin to expand that ability. And the lessons that you learn in expanding that ability will help open all your other abilities as well. So if you guys have any questions about your abilities, ask below in the comments, or you're more than welcome to book a session or send me an email. All right, I will talk to you guys later. Have a great day. Hopefully this was helpful. Make sure you follow and like below. Bye.